Hi, ArcfieldWeather.com meteorologist Paul Dorian here on Monday morning, January the 27th, the last week of the month of January. It'll be quite an active time period, not only this week, but next week as well. It looks like we'll have a pretty good warm-up across the eastern states for the beginning part of the month of February, but signs point to a return to colder weather, let's say by the 7th or 10th or so of February into the eastern states. The cold next week will kind of shift to the western U.S., but it'll eventually move back south and east into the central and then ultimately into the eastern states. The month of January, so far, this is through a couple of days ago, quite a bit below normal across a huge chunk of the nation. The overall average across the nation through the 25th of January, minus 4.1 degrees, and again, virtually coast to coast cold, but let's call it maybe the three quarters of the nation below normal for the month of January. This is headed for one of the coldest Januaries in the last 25 years or so, and not necessarily the coldest, but we'll see how it ends up here over the next few days. One of the coldest over the last 25 years or so, and again, looks like the beginning part of February will be above normal temperature-wise across much of the central and eastern states, but that will flip, I think, by the 7th or 10th or so of February. Well, before we walk through the zero-Z run of the GFS in terms of the more conventional forecast parameters, let's take a look here at the total snowfall forecast for the next 10 days. Really, areas of interest include eastern Canada, the Great Lakes, and into the northeast, especially the interior northeast U.S. over the next 10 days or so. A lot of snowfall. We'll talk about two strong cold fronts that will drop south and east from the Hudson Bay region of Canada into the northeastern states, and they'll both be quite impactful across much of the northeast U.S., let's say from upstate PA across New York State, New England, both on Tuesday and on Wednesday. A lot of snow over the next 10 days over those higher mountains of the Sierra Nevada right here. You can see quite impressive snowfall over the next 10 days, and a lot of the higher elevations out across, especially the northern Rockies into the Pacific Northwest and the British Columbia region of Canada will receive quite significant snowfall over the next 10 days. No snow predicted for the Gulf Coast region here. It looks like that storm of last week could be it for the winter, but we'll see. Certainly there are signs that can be some Arctic air plunging all the way down into Texas here as we flip from a warmer beginning of February. By the end of the first week or into the second week, there could be some Arctic air that plunges all the way down. That certainly can lead to some more snowfall across Texas, especially western and northern Texas, down the road a bit. Well, let's take a look at the vorticity field. These are areas in the upper part of the atmosphere, usually associated with jet streaks that feature some rotation in the upper part of the atmosphere, and that leads to upward motion down the lower levels. Notice up here over the Hudson Bay region of Canada, there is a strong cold front that will dive to the south and east tomorrow, right into the northeast U.S. And this frontal system, this cold frontal system, will certainly have an impact across New York State, New England, and likely all the way down into central Pennsylvania, maybe even southeastern Pennsylvania on Tuesday, primarily Tuesday morning, with some snow shower activity. Could even be some heavier snow squalls associated with this frontal system on Tuesday. Then we go out a little farther in time at midweek. Another strong cold front will drop south and east across the Great Lakes and into the northeastern states. That'll produce some rain or snow shower activity in much of the northeastern part of the nation on Wednesday. And again, could be some decent snowfall across the Great Lakes and the interior sections of the northeastern states at midweek. Then we move forward in time, and some of that colder air does seep in at the surface level, certainly across the northeastern states. And this next system moves slowly to the north and east. This is the forecast map for Friday morning. It will have some trouble advancing much farther to the north and east because of a lot of cold air, a lot of strong high pressure up across southeastern Canada. and you can see it kind of makes it all the way into the Ohio Valley, and then tends to get suppressed to the south and east and slides across instead of continuing up to the north and east. Bottom line here, there will be a lot of cold air at the surface across the northeastern U.S. at the end of this work week. We're talking late Friday, Friday night, Saturday time frame. So this could result in some rain, ice, or snow across the mid-Atlantic, especially the northern mid-Atlantic, into parts of the northeast U.S. Doesn't look like it's going to move all the way up the New England coastline because of that suppression. Again, a lot of cold, high pressure over southeastern Canada at the end of the work week going into the upcoming weekend. That could lead to some icing problems, at least in portions of the northeastern states, late this week, early this weekend. Well, let's now take a look at the 850 millibar temperature anomalies from last night's GFS model run. And again, we have two different strong cold fronts dropping south and east on Tuesday and Wednesday, impacting the northeastern states. And here we can see that first blast right here. By the time we get to this evening and then into the overnight hours, early Tuesday, there will be a strong cold front right in this region right here. Very, very cold air situated across southeastern Canada, working its way into New York, New England for later Tuesday night. And again, this front can have some snow showers associated with it all the way down into southern PA, maybe even a heavier snow squall or two. Unlikely that any snow shower activity will make its way down into areas south of the Mason-Dixon line, the Pennsylvania-Maryland border. But very, very cold air across places like Maine, Vermont, New Hampshire, later tomorrow into tomorrow night. And then you can see kind of a second bulge here, and that is that second cold front, a clipper system, dives south and east at midweek across the Great Lakes, producing some snow up over the Great Lakes, and that cold shot again moves into the northeastern states, Pennsylvania, New York, New England area on Wednesday into Wednesday night. That second front certainly can have some snow shower, maybe rain shower activity associated with it. And then you see some warmer than normal conditions showing up at the 850 millibar level. This is now by midday on Friday. Again, with strong cold high pressure situated over southeastern Canada, there will be some reluctant cold air at the surface level up across PA and New York, and it'll be reluctant to give up its ground, so some of that warmer air will be forced up aloft, and that could lead to a period of icing in at least portions of the Mid-Atlantic region, primarily the northern Mid-Atlantic region, let's say late Friday night going into Saturday, and that could ultimately change to some snow with that suppressed storm making its way northward into the Ohio Valley, and then from there moving to the east. The cold air will not be far away here from the Mid-Atlantic region by the time we get to Friday night, Saturday. And then, as I mentioned at the onset here, generally a warmer than normal pattern looks like it'll start the month of February across much of the central and eastern states. This is going all the way out now to the a week from right now, next Monday, February 3rd. Notice, however, all this cold air building up here over southwestern Canada a week from right now. This is early next week. Again, there will be a warm-up across the central and eastern states, but the atmosphere tends to reload, and some cold air builds up over the western part of Canada, and ultimately that makes its way south and east, first into the central states. Again, there could be an Arctic plunge going all the way down into Texas. We'll have to watch for that going into maybe the latter part of the first week or the second week of February. Here we are all the way out to February 7th, still much warmer than normal, eastern half of the nation, but this is when the tide will turn again with that colder air starting to make inroads into the central and eastern states, and a lot of cold air up across Canada here working its way south and east by the time we get to, let's say, February 10th or so. Now let's take a look at the surface maps from last night's run of the GFS, and here we are on Monday morning. You can see the frontal system associated with these isobars here, these lines of equal pressure. Very, very strong cold front right here over. This is Hudson Bay in eastern Canada. This is again a very, very strong cold front with bitter cold air to its north, and we'll push forward here and we'll see that slide into the south, to the south and east right here by the time we get to early tomorrow. That first cold front situated right here by early tomorrow, and again can certainly be some snow shower activity, heavier snow squalls as well early tomorrow, especially up across New York State into New England. But some of that snow shower activity and even snow squall activity can make its way all the way into the southern part of Pennsylvania, something we'll have to watch out for during the day on Tuesday, especially again Tuesday morning. Here we go into midday on Tuesday, and then we have that Clipper system that drops south and east from central Canada into the Great Lakes region. It too has a strong cold front associated with it right here, trailing cold front, and this Clipper system moves to the south and east. Again, along the way, it could produce some accumulating snow right there over the Great Lakes region later tomorrow into tomorrow night, into the day on Wednesday. Here we go by late tomorrow night into early Wednesday. That Clipper system ends up by Wednesday morning near the New England coastline, the eastern New England coastline here. Again, a lot of snow shower, maybe even some accumulating snow, especially upstate PA, New York State, interior New England, and a strong cold front trails that Clipper system dropping to the south and east. So very active time period in the northeastern part of the nation, Tuesday and Wednesday, associated with these two different strong cold fronts. Both have the chance of producing some snow showers, maybe even heavier snow squalls, and the winds will be quite strong through the period as well, right here over the Great Lakes, northeastern part of the nation. That slides on east, and it puts in some pretty cold air, especially down to surface level by the time we get to Thursday. And here we go with moisture pouring out of the south central states. Now, we mentioned that there's kind of a blocking pattern right here with strong high pressure situated over central and eastern Canada by midday on Friday. This system, as a result, will not be able to move too far to the north and east. It'll basically kind of run into a brick wall right here as it moves to the north and east over the Ohio Valley. And we'll see that in a moment here on the GFS run. It goes all the way up into the Ohio Valley, and that starts to slide to the south and east. And again, with all this cold air at the surface level, that could lead to some icing, especially across the northern mid-Atlantic region, late Friday night going into Saturday time frame. And with that system sliding to the east, the colder air kind of tend to return back to the south and east on the backside of this low pressure area by midday on Saturday. Could have some ice changing back to snow across much of Pennsylvania, let's say by Saturday morning. And here is one of those reasons why we have that strong surface high that moves from central Canada all the way into southeastern Canada, and that will pour a lot of that cold air, keep that cold air anchored at the surface level across the northeastern states. At the end of the work week, going into the early part of the upcoming weekend, we'll go out a little farther in time, and instead of riding up along the New England coastline, this system is kind of forced to go to the east with that very, very strong high over southeastern Canada, maybe kind of an inverted trough causing some residual snow back into the mid-Atlantic region late Saturday evening time frame. And then the warm-up will start in earnest across much of the central and eastern states as that high pressure system moves all the way to off the eastern seaboard by the time we get to next Monday. And here we have a lot of the warming air starting to show up here in this part of the nation a week from right now. And again, it looks like the first part of February can turn out to be warmer than normal across much of the central and eastern states, only to be flipped by the time we get to say, let's say February 7th or 10th or so, with that colder air that will build up across southwestern Canada, making its way ultimately to the central and eastern states. A very active time period over the next couple of weeks. Kind of topsy-turvy temperature pattern as well, with somewhat of a warm-up for sure for the central and eastern states in the early part of February, but signs point to a flip back to a colder pattern for the central and eastern states by that second week of February. That's it for now. For ArcfieldWeather.com, this has been meteorologist Paul Dorian.